So, every single year, I redraw the same character again to see how much I've improved. And it's that time of the year where I actually draw the same character again. You can know more about each year in my last video I did about this last year. If you want to know more about when I started doing every single one of them back in 2017, which is when I started drawing people. And I won't get more into detail as to why I only started drawing people in 2017, even though I drew before, we don't talk about it. I started this drawing with obviously a mini outline in my sketchbook as always, but it's not really that big of a deal. It was just me trying to figure out how I wanted the character to be posed. It's really simple outline, really. It's like basically stick figures. And I decided to start this slightly differently because I was drawing in my sketchbook and I wanted to start off the sketch with a sharper look, so I used a hard pencil, that is a brush that I made, and decided to make my outline with that, and I liked it. I guess, I don't know, I don't have much opinions on it really. It doesn't really change much, it's just a lot crisper and sharper. And went straight into line art after that with my usual brush. At the beginning of this year, of 2025, I was already afraid of drawing this. I knew something was coming and I was really afraid of it the moment that I had to draw it. So I decided to leave it aside until the time was right and decided to just simply not think about it, because if not, I would corrode myself through months just simply thinking about this illustration I had to make and living in constant fear of it. My fear with this was not having improved, obviously. I don't have a comfort zone. I always talk about it. I can basically draw anything. And I know that it sounds a bit arrogant when I say it like that. It's not that I know how to draw anything, I can draw anything. Of course, I'd have to use references if it is something that I'm not used to drawing all the time, or that I don't draw all the time. But it does not make me uncomfortable. It doesn't affect me in any negative way. I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with it, right? So I was afraid by the fact that I can basically draw whatever, and that leaving me stuck in the same place. I wanted to improve, of course, but I still like last year's drawings just as I like the drawings from the year before and every single drawing before that, so I'm not very objective. Sure, I can see certain mistakes, but I still have a sweet spot for everything, and I was really afraid that it would affect me in a negative way and leaving me stuck in the same place, together with not having a comfort zone. So, to leave everything aside, when the month of August came, which is the month that I drew last year, so I decided to draw it this time around as well, plus it's also a month that I become very nostalgic, I decided to redraw this and use the way I've been drawing right now. And right now I have been drawing a bit differently from last year. It has been a while since I've only done a portrait too, without any bigger concept or any bigger background or anything else. So this was a nice change. I've been planning it for something specific, and if you want to know more, you will still keep your eyes peeled for my community posts. That is still coming, I'm still planning that. But it has been a while since I just drew a character for being a character without any bigger concept in mind or any study or something else. So this was a nice change. Since I am planning on doing that one thing, it was nice to get a reminder for it. My process has changed a bit, just as my style has also changed a bit from last year. I don't know how this happened. I thought that I've been drawing the same, if I have to be honest. To me, that I didn't improve at all, nothing has changed. But looking back at it, I can definitely tell things have in fact changed. I will only talk in this video about the one from 2022 to now. If you want to know from the ones before 2022, you can check out last year's video, in which I talk about everything. So from 2022, I used to use this. That was at the beginning of the year, if I am not mistaken. Or was it? No, I think it was, yeah. That was at the beginning of the year. I used to use this very painterly, yet sort of clean art style, or way of rendering, right, my art style. Despite it looking different, it's not really. I still keep the same principles in mind for how I draw faces and people in general, despite having a better knowledge on anatomy than I did back then. I still like it despite the anatomical issues. It looks very wide, but it's still nice. I can see that it's very detailed and I used to really put effort into things. Then we have 2023, which was the year of cutesy anime art style, and Little Miss Future, of course. I still like it, it's very cute, but it doesn't show any age other than young, which is scary. Plus, it was very, very, very painterly because at that time, things were not looking good on my end and I had to draw really fast if I wanted to draw at all. So that's how I sort of implemented this very fast painting style, which was very messy. It looked very colorful and cute. In 2024, I changed that. I decided to go for a more clean art style again. Back then, I also thought that I wouldn't have improved much, but I did again. And my style matured, finally. She looks like she's older than 2023, and I'm very glad for that. It got a lot cleaner, and it showed her fierceness more. I still like last year's drawing a lot. I can see some anatomical mistakes, but even now when I'm looking at the drawings I'm making nowadays, like a day later or so, I can also see anatomical mistakes, so that's good and that's normal. But I'm glad to see the improvement. I can also see their similarities, so that's cool. I can see it was the same person who drew it. And now this year, 2025, she looks even more mature, very glittery, because I've been obsessed with my glitter brushes. She has this sort of mature but also cute look, serious but nonchalant. And I have to ask, look, don't take me out of context. It's just something that I've actually noticed and it has been on my mind. I have to ask you, does she look Asian? I don't know why, but to me she looks Asian. And I mean, sure, I guess if that's it. If you agree with me, then that's her, I guess. It just happened. I don't know how, but it happened, so sure. I just had to ask because it has been on my mind. I changed her pose this year because I got tired of drawing the same girl in 3/4. Is it 3/4? Is it? I think so. Is that? I don't know. She's sort of side but looking at you at the same time, like girl with a pearl earring. So I decided to change it. I was tired, okay? I needed to draw something different, so I turned her around a bit. Now she's looking at you, more straightforward, but also not, from the other side. I don't know. It looks good, is all I can say. It was nice to draw something different. Also, there isn't much posing I can do with these simple concepts without changing things too much, and I want it to be similar enough to see that it's the same thing while also showing the change and my own improvement, right? After doing the sketch and liner, let's get into the process of this, right? I've been talking and blabbing about literally anything but what I'm trying to talk about. I separated each element yet again, like skin, base, from clothing and hair, each in their own separate group, while grouping it all together into the character group layer, which is called folders in other programs. If you want to know how I do that, maybe it's called folders in your program, maybe it's called groups, like I have here in Krita. The hair, once again, I did with the stroke layer mode, which adds an automatic outline to what I draw. I separated the ponytail from the bangs to make it easier for myself, the back hair from the front hair. It's better to add depth like that. And it makes it also easier for me to focus on things one at a time and try not to erase things and add the outline. It makes things a lot easier, okay? It was good. It's sort of how VTubers also draw, so that's something. I also added a sculptor, just like people draw VTubers. I don't know why, it was just automatic. Did you know that at some point back in 2021, I actually tried to make a VTuber? Random information. So back to the drawing. I added a big shadow and cut the lighting out and blended it to give a more frontal focus light, since usually I use that to give like backlighting, side lighting, more of how the ambient looks. But since there isn't an ambient here, there's no environment, it's just a portrait drawing, I decided to just put the light right in front. Even though it's not very front, it's more so on our right side, a little bit, slightly. But it was a nice change. From the years before, I simply drew shadows how artists usually do, and this time I wanted it to have more focus and more shape. So that's how I usually do that nowadays. Then I added lots of overlay with colors, of course. We love saturation here. I don't know how and why, I just became a color addict. I don't do the legal Ds, as we say here. Not anymore. I mean, I used an analogous color palette once again. It has been a while. Lately I've only been really using complementary ones, and I thought about using a complementary color style in this, but then it would turn green, and I was not in the mood for green. Today was not a Shrek day. I mean, that wasn't today. Look, things are confusing, okay? Today for you who are seeing this. So in the last 2 years, had removed the blue from the picture. I don't know why. I think I meant to use only one focus color, but I decided to go back with the blue and added it again just to add a complement to the pink, since the purple acts like black, which isn't a color. I just needed something to contrast and add more interest. Other than it solely being pink, of course, I used yellow, pink, purple, and blue in this, which all are beside each other on the color wheel. Sure, you can say that red is in there, but this pink is on the more reddish side. But in this case, yellow and purple act like light and shadow, so I wouldn't exactly say they're colors, they're more so there to add an effect. I started painting over it, which at one point I forgot how clothes worked for a second and had to look back at my own drawings to remember. Same thing happened for me with the hair. I'm actually very slow to process things, so I have some issues sometimes to focus and realize things. I made it very shiny and glittery, since my latest obsession is the glitter brushes and textures. I love those, and I've been adding them to everything. Glittery eyeshadow, glittery clothes, glittery hair, glitter everything. I even added glitter to the background because I have issues, I guess, with glitter now. I think it's cute that I add the waterline nowadays and more eyelashes. I think it's very sweet. And another thing that always happens to me, what I didn't record, right? Because I don't record everything, because I don't know, I always say to myself, oh, I'm just going to add one single tiny little thing. I don't have to record that, I can just say, and then I add more stuff. But in this case, what I didn't record was me adding the chest gem, which she has, I don't know why, and some shine details for her earrings. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and some overlay layers just to do the doing and adding noise. Look, it's the simple stuff, right? Anyways, overall, I'm glad I improved and changed a bit, which I was afraid I wouldn't have, so that's nice. I still like the 2023 and 2024 one, but I'm also glad with this new one. I'm glad I improved. I like it. I even like the 2022 one. We don't talk about 2021. If you want to know more, last video from last year, right? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't haunt me next year, okay? Actually do, just so that I don't forget. Let's all just haunt me, okay? From the beginning, January 1st, you're all like, where's the redraw? Where's the redraw, Angel? Okay, so I hope you have a nice day and night, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!